am checking to see if this is working. I am on a new program, so I'm super excited, but I gotta make sure that it's working. So bear with me. I think it's working. Hi guys. I don't know why I'm having a hard time pulling it up though. Here we go. Yes, so we are live. So I'm on a new system directly on my computer, so this is new to me. But I'm really excited because this is my first step into being able to take callers and have guests. So I'm super excited about it. So we are kicking off PCOS Awareness Month. Tonight I'm just gonna go over with you my journey of PCOS and why I feel like it's important that we talk about it, and just some of the things that we need to be aware of. I mean, it is PCOS Awareness Month, and so I want to just share with you some of the things I feel we should be aware of. And I'm going to put it out there that I am not a PCOS expert. I'm not a health and nutrition expert, but I have studied this. My husband and I've studied this. It's something that I have completely poured into because I want to be healthy. I want to feel better, and I hope to share some of that encouragement and a little bit of knowledge that I have with you. It looks like this is working correctly. I'm going to try to make sure that I am knowing what's going on. My husband is normally my person to help me with this, but since we're doing it from the computer, it would be a little bit hard for him to figure out what's going on, what's not going on. So bear with me while I go back and forth. Okay, so let's see. First of all, let me share this over to the Her Soul Purpose page. Okay, awesome. So I hope you guys have had a wonderful September. I cannot help but to love all of the fall photos and fall excitement and people excited about fall coming around. It's so fun to see. I am a winter girl. I love winter. I love all things Christmas. And so fall is fun for me because it means that winter and Christmas are right around the corner. So if you know me, you know that I listen to Christmas music all year round. And so I'm just really excited because fall is a step closer to winter. Okay, so PCOS Awareness Month. It is all of the month of September. The colors are turquoise, so I have my turquoise on, and just really hope to bring you guys awareness. So feel free, if any of you have PCOS, I'm not taking callers tonight, but please feel free to comment on the Facebook video. I'm going to be going back and forth and watching and seeing if there's any comments because I want to hear your journey. I want to hear your story, and please message me if you'd like to share your story, possibly be a guest or at least a call-in guest. Please feel free to message me. I'd love to have a conversation with you and see what your journey is, see what your story is, and see if we can get you on. I do want to make sure volume is working because that was my problem last week. See what your story is and see if we can get you on. It's working, so didn't mean to echo, but just wanted to make sure it was working. Okay, so why is PCOS awareness important? PCOS Awareness Month is so significant to me because it's the journey that I've been on. It's been a journey that I've been on since I was little. I mean, before I even turned 13, I was in the hospital with aches and pains, not knowing what was going on with my body. The doctors couldn't figure it out. and it was abdominal pains. And lo and behold, that was the first moment, I guess, of my PCOS issues. And I was young. There wasn't a lot of information on it back then, and there's finally a little bit of information, but I would go out on a limb and say they haven't even scratched the surface of what PCOS really is and what causes it. It's something that so many women have. I'm going to read you some statistics here. Between 5 to 10% of women of childbearing age in the United States, or roughly 5 million, have PCOS. Less than 50% of women are properly diagnosed, leaving millions of women living with PCOS undiagnosed. And I was one of those. I was undiagnosed for probably about a good 2 decades, longer. And it was something that I couldn't understand. I went through so many different symptoms. I went through depression. I went through the aches and pains and ovarian cyst ruptures. I can't tell you how many times I've been in the hospital for cyst ruptures. I've had 2 major surgeries due to ovarian cysts. I have battled infertility now, and just acne issues, hair growth issues, just all kinds of crazy things. I have a heart condition, and all of this leads to PCOS. Of course, I didn't find this out until maybe I believe about 10 years ago. And so that left the majority of my life not knowing what was happening. I had lack of energy, just all kinds of weird things. And so last year, my husband and I decided to really conquer a good, healthy lifestyle. And so I cut out gluten. I'm going to say we, actually, because he's been on this journey with me, but we cut out gluten, we cut out sugar, we cut out dairy, and I am so proud to say that I haven't had an ovarian cyst in about 2 months, maybe a little bit over now, but that is huge for me. Like, you have no idea how huge that is. And so I'm a huge advocate in dealing with PCOS naturally. It can be done. So I'm going to go on with some more statistics before I get into all of that. So more than 50% of women with PCOS will have diabetes or pre-diabetes before the age of 40. And the risk of heart attack is 4 to 7 times higher in women with PCOS. PCOS is the most common cause of female infertility. It is an endocrine disorder, and so oftentimes women will go to their gynecologist, and there's kind of a disconnect. It is an endocrine disorder, and so, just it's important to know these things if you're kind of struggling with some of this stuff that maybe you're not quite sure what it could be. There's specific tests that they can run, and my public service announcement is, and again, I'm not a PCOS expert. I'm not a nutrition and health expert, but I am like a me expert and a woman that has walked through PCOS, and so I can share my personal experience with you. I have been put on the medications. I have been put on the birth control, the Clomid, those things that are supposed to help with PCOS. And to be honest, they didn't help. If anything, they made it worse. And so I want to encourage you, if you are a woman battling PCOS, or you might suspect you have PCOS, you maybe have some hormonal issues or fertility issues, please try to get healthy naturally. It's hard. It really is hard. It's a hard thing to do, but it is so worth it. it's so worth it. You can feel better, and it's natural. It's not putting these chemicals or these things in your body that will just be a Band-Aid. It's so important that we eat right. It's so important that we love our bodies. Naturally, we were not made to be sick. We were not made to feel depressed or to have a lack of energy. My quality of life was crazy low because I was always sick. I wasn't feeling good. I don't know how many times I would have to cancel things, and honestly, it still happens from time to time, but it's gotten so much better, and I owe that all to eating better, making sure I get enough sleep. Sleep is huge. If you have PCOS, if you have any kind of hormonal issues, if you're trying to get pregnant, make sure that you are getting the proper amount of sleep. It is so important. Honestly, I try to get 8 hours of sleep, but if I'm not going to get 7 hours of sleep, I do what I can to make up for that throughout the day, whether it's a nap or going to bed a little bit early the next night. I just really try to be very aware of how I'm loving my body and how I'm treating myself. So, I had shared earlier that I'd had PCOS issues since I believe I was 12 when we first got a hint of it. And then when I turned 13, it just kind of hit me full force. And so I have never, ever had a normal anything when it comes to womanhood. And so it's something that I have battled my whole life. And the main reason why I feel like there needs to be awareness about this is because it didn't just affect me. When I was growing up, it affected my family. It affected my mom. It affected my sister. I was always sick. I was never ever feeling good. I always had some kind of cyst rupture or pains that doctors didn't know what it was from or what was going on. And that affected my childhood. It affected my high school years. It affected my family. And then as I grew older into adulthood, it affected my friendships because I was either really depressed or just didn't feel like doing things. And I would say when I got, maybe mid-20s was when I really started to feel the effect of depression. And so for me, awareness isn't just for women that might possibly have PCOS, but it's for the people who love women with PCOS. It's something that I would hope to spread awareness to you, that it is a real disorder, and it's a real struggle that women go through. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. And now that I'm a married woman, my husband and I, we're trying to have a family, to start our family, to have a baby, and we've battled fertility issues. We've gone through miscarriage, and and so now as a married adult, it affects my husband. It affects his parents and his family, just as much as it has affected my family, because now, it's not just my family, like, oh, when is she going to have a baby, but his family too, and don't get me wrong, everybody has always been so supportive and so loving about it. And I know that if for some reason I never got pregnant, nobody would be angry at us. It wouldn't be anything, it wouldn't be a disappointment. It wouldn't be any of those things. We're very blessed to have very understanding family, but it does affect them. I have a sister who wants a nephew, and so, it's something that does affect everybody around. It's affected my relationships. It can affect some women's careers because there's a lack of energy. Sometimes there's that lack of wanting to do something, with wanting to move forward. There's just a lack of energy. Sometimes there's a lack of interest. Those typical depression things that some people go through when they're feeling depression. And so it's just very important that people understand that it's something that needs to be handled with care and understanding, and of course lots of prayer and lots of love and support. If you know somebody who has PCOS, please try to support them as they are trying to have a major lifestyle change, because it requires a lifestyle change. And for me, wanting to get pregnant definitely propelled that lifestyle change, and it has helped me to remain in that lifestyle change, because I want so bad to be a mom and to have, be able to get pregnant. And so I have that push and that encouragement. But some women, maybe they're not interested in having kids, or they're not in that phase of life where they can have kids, or they want to have kids. And so, there's just no, I guess, incentive, you should say, besides just to be healthy and to live healthy. And I say that very lightly, because that should be our main incentive. But I'll be honest, it wasn't mine. Before we started to try to have a baby, I really honestly didn't care about my health and nutrition. And that hurts and that pains me to say right now, because I love a healthy lifestyle now. I try to eat healthy. I try to exercise and get all the sleep that I need and all of those things. But I honestly did not care a lot about my health and nutrition. And now I realize it. Now I realize how important it is. And so that's my plea to you. If you know somebody that has PCOS, be very aware of that. Just know that they need that encouragement. They need that support to be healthy and to live that healthy lifestyle. Okay, so I see the sun here. I'm going to put this down. There we go. Live TV, guys. Live TV. Okay, so let's see. So if you are trying to conceive, something else, even if you're not trying to conceive, because since this is a hormonal issue, stress can play a huge part with PCOS. It can really cause some major anxiety, and again, with the depression, it can cause some depression. Sorry about that, guys. Let me try to fix the lighting here. Oh, can't find the lighting. Okay. Oh well. It's just super bright. Okay. Oh well. I'm not gonna mess with that. It can really mess with anxiety, and so what I want to say about that when it comes to stress is to try really hard to find ways to show yourself self-love. I talked about in the 5 stages of grief, I talked a lot about self-compassion, and it's the same thing with PCOS. It's the same thing. You have to know how to show yourself love. You need to be able to truly care for yourself. There needs to be lots of time where you just take some time out to rest, to allow yourself to take a deep breath. There's lots of ways to de-stress. I like to take hot baths. I know a lot of women do. And so just make sure that you are loving yourself and taking care of yourself, and making sure that you are releasing that stress, because that can be so bad for PCOS. It's actually bad for your health in general, which is, a common thing to know. But just make sure that you love yourself. That is the most important thing that I want to stress. And so with that being said, as we're on the topic of self-love, One of the things that we're going to be doing with PCOS Awareness Month is, so we're going to have 1 week where I'm hoping for this to be next week. Don't hold me to it. We're going to talk about how to love people with PCOS, because that is so important. And I think with awareness of what PCOS is, what PCOS can do, what are some of the symptoms of PCOS, I think it's important that we know how to love the sisters in our life with PCOS, whether it's a daughter, whether it's your spouse, whether it's a friend, whether it's a cousin or a niece. It's so important that we understand how to support. And so I went over that a little bit with lifestyle. That's going to be one of the first ways, is to love somebody enough to hold them accountable to a healthy lifestyle. But I am also going to have a self-care show, and we're going to talk a lot about self-care and the benefits of loving yourself, the benefits of caring for yourself. And so with that, we are going to have a giveaway, and I'm so super excited for that. We have some makeup, we have some jewelry, we have some health supplements, we have a couple of books. Like, we have some amazing things in the giveaway. And so the way this giveaway is going to work is, for every share of the show, you'll have an entry in there. So starting tonight, share the show, you will get an entry into the giveaway. I'm also going to have an Instagram loop, so you can look for that. That's going to be not this weekend, but the following weekend. We're going to do that on the 14th of September. So not this Friday, but next Friday. And it's going to be an Instagram loop. So go on my Instagram page and look for the giveaway loop. And so some of the women that have partnered up with me for this giveaway, there's going to be links to their Instagram pages. And so what you'll do is you'll loop in and follow them. And so we're going to do the loop giveaway. And so those will be the two ways that you can enter, is to share the Her Soul Purpose Facebook page, and that's under it's facebook.com/Her Soul Purpose page. And so you can share that as an entry giveaway, and then next week's show you can share that show to have an entry also. So there's a few ways to enter into this giveaway, and I'm really excited. I think that you're going to like it, especially if you have PCOS and you're really needing to practice some self-care. But this isn't open to just people who have had PCOS or people who have miscarried. This is open to, if you are a woman, this is open to you, because it's so important that all of us know how to practice self-care. It's so important that we all know how to love ourselves a little bit better. And I just thought that this would be a fun way to get some products into your life, a good book into your life, to just really sit down and practice some self-care. So that will be happening. Okay. Sorry, it looked like it froze up a little bit. I'm really loving this new program. And that'll be one of the things that we're doing this month too, is we'll have a couple of callers. And again, if you have experienced something traumatic with PCOS, please shoot me a message. Let's talk. I would love to have you as a guest on the show. Something else that I really want to stress is, if you have any little ones in your life, if you have, whether it's a niece, whether you have daughters or little cousins, or friends, that have daughters, something that I want us to be aware of is that it's so important that they start off early eating healthy and being active. It's important that we start these kids off early. Those little girls become women, and those women become hopeful mothers, some of them. And so, most of them. I don't know very many little girls who don't dream of that. But, even if they don't want to become mothers, they become women. And it doesn't matter what they're doing in life. PCOS can affect any woman. Nobody is exempt. No woman is exempt from PCOS. And so I want you to be aware of that too. If you have some little girls in your life, those little girls become women. And we need to make sure that we are helping them understand ways of being healthy, ways of eating right. And it's so important that we are that example for them. Not only are we their example, but we're their supporter, we're their encourager, we're their cheerleader to be healthy. It's so easy to not be mindful of that. And I don't have kids, but I do have nieces, I do have little cousins, and so I understand the importance of wanting to make sure that they're loved and cared for. And as adults in any child's life, we should just make sure that we're covering them in prayer. And, if you love from a distance the way I do, because I'm so far away from all of my nieces, just cover them in prayer and love on them. When you do get to see them, make sure that these girls know that they are loved and that they're cared for and that they're cherished, because that kind of thing can also play an effect on a woman's hormonal issues. It can also play an effect on that, any kind of depression or anything like that. And I know some people that might be an unpopular thing to say. Some people maybe don't believe that, but I do. I'm a firm believer in that love can cure so much. Love can cure so much, and prayer is powerful. And so if you have a little girl in your life, just cover them in prayer, cover them with protection, and just understand that can play a huge impact on their lives, because they do become women, and you just want to make sure that they know that they're loved and cared for. And so that's super, super important to me, that I stress to you that little girls become women, and we want to make sure that we are keeping them healthy. If you're a mom with a little girl, try your best to make sure that they're eating healthy, that you're looking at the ingredients on that food, that you know what they're putting into their bodies, because what we put into our diets, what we put on our skin, all of that really does matter. It really, really does. And so I just want to put an awareness out there that it is so important that we know what's going on with their diets, and just things that they are around, things that all kinds of things can affect our health. And so that's going to be one of my main awareness things that I want to get across tonight, is to just love on the women in your life, love on the little girls in your life, and make sure that they're being healthy, make sure that we know what they're getting themselves into. And if you know somebody that has PCOS, again, support them, support a healthy lifestyle, share healthy recipes with them. Just make sure that you are encouraging them to be healthy. Please don't ask them to go out and have a hamburger and soda, because sugar is so bad for PCOS. And and that's the awareness that I want to bring across, is those things really are bad. There was a point in my life and in my walk and in my journey with PCOS that I didn't think it mattered. People would say something about sugar, and I would literally laugh in their face and say, like, haha, oh my gosh, that's so not true, or that's ridiculous. And as I started to study more, and as I started to really care about my body, and to care about what I was putting into my diet, I started to realize how wrong I was. and how important it was that I love myself enough and love the people in my life enough and love my husband enough and love my family enough to take care of me. And I realized like how bad so many of these things were for me. And so I used to be a soda addict. If anybody knows me, you know how much I loved my soda, and cutting that out was the best thing I ever did for my life, and cutting out the gluten and the dairy. And so if you need a good recipe, please message me. I'll be happy to give you some recipes. I'll be happy to give you pointers on how I got off of sugar, how I got off of the gluten and all of that good stuff. It was hard. I'm not going to lie. It is hard. It's hard at first, but it's so worth it. And once you just go all in and you do it, you are not going to regret it. You're going to feel so much better. You're going to have energy. You're going to feel like doing things. The longest time, I never felt like doing things. And I would always ask myself, like, why am I being so lazy? Like, why don't I feel like going to the movies or to have coffee or, to just walk downtown with my husband? And there were times that I would just feel so bad and down about it and just not understand why I didn't have the energy. And the second I started to change my diet and I started to stick with it, I didn't just change it, I stuck with it, and it was hard and it was brutal, and there was some really unhappy days where I was a complete monster, but I stuck with it, and I started to get energy back. I started to feel like a person again. I started to feel motivated to be a good wife, to have fun, and just all of those things that make life amazing. And I'm so glad I stuck with it. And so I want to encourage you to stick with it. If you feel like you need to change your diet, if you feel like you need to do something different, do it. Do something different, stick with it, and know that it's going to be worth it in the end. And so that is my PCOS awareness kickoff. I really just wanted to share my journey, my story, and let you know that there is hope. I've heard of people reversing PCOS. That is my hope, to reverse it for myself. But I have been told that it is a disorder that can't be reversed. And for me, I always say, but God, with God, anything is possible, right? And so even if it's not reversed, though, even if that's going to be a fact in my life, I know that I can manage it. And that is the most important thing for anybody with PCOS to understand, is that you can manage it. You can manage it. You can manage it with diet, with your exercising, with self-care, with less stress, with being mindful of what you're around, with what kind of product you put on your skin, with what kind of supplements you are putting in your body. Like, there's so much to be mindful, and it all starts with caring about yourself. Scripture tells us that we are to love ourselves, right? That our body is our temple, is the Lord's temple. And so we need to care about ourselves. We need to care about that in order to fulfill that mission that God puts us on. It's so hard to live for Him and to spread His name, to spread the love of Jesus, if you are constantly in pain, or if you are constantly sick or constantly depressed. And that was one of the things that I found out quickly after I started to feel good. This is how bad it was, guys. I didn't even know how bad I felt until I started to feel good. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that is a lot of people. You might not even know you feel bad until you start to feel good. And you're not going to start to feel good until you start to eat better, until you start to love yourself better, until you start to get the proper amount of sleep, until you're managing your stress. So give it a try. If you are living an unhealthy lifestyle, whether you have PCOS or not, give it a try to be healthy, to eat right, to get the right amount of sleep, and see how you feel. See if it makes a difference. Because for me, I did not realize how bad I felt until I started to feel good. And so whenever that happened and that realization happened, it also helped me to realize like what a disservice I was doing for my walk. What a disservice I was doing for God. I wasn't able to completely live for Him or do any kind of work for Him or to even properly worship Him and love Him because I felt so bad. I felt so weak. I was always in pain. And so those are things to remember also. If you are on the fence with being healthy, just know that it's going to not be just for yourself, but it's going to be for God. It's going to be for the people that you can impact if you're feeling better. And so that is my PCOS awareness. Let's see if there's anything else that I was wanting to go over. I believe that is it. So next week, I'm hoping to have a guest or two, just some call-in people that will call in to share their journey with PCOS, things that have helped them, and maybe even symptoms that they looked out for or that they want to encourage you to look out for that maybe I didn't share tonight, because no PCOS is the same. Just like pregnancy, just like anything that has to do with women's health, everybody handles it differently. Everybody goes through different things. Everybody feels different things. And so not all PCOS is the same. And so there might be something or a symptom that a woman felt that maybe I didn't go over tonight. And so hopefully we can have a call in and they can help you with that. So that's going to be next week. We're just going to talk a little bit more about PCOS. We're going to talk about how to love somebody with PCOS. I'm hoping to have my husband on soon to help me with that message, because he has done an amazing job with being supportive and loving me during PCOS. And so I really would like to get his input with that. But again, that's, don't hold me to that. That is just a hope that I have for this month of PCOS awareness. And then again, we have the giveaway. So share this video, share next week's video to get entered into the giveaway. We have a ton of amazing stuff to help you with self-care. So I'm going to end this in prayer and we will be back with you next week. Dear Lord, we just come together and I just thank you for every single woman that's watching this, Lord. If they're battling PCOS, Lord, I just pray that you help them by guiding them to properly manage and care for PCOS and for their health, Lord, and not just for themselves, but for you, Lord, and for the mission that you want to put them on, for their families, Lord, their families that stand by their side and love them. It's a difficult thing to go through, Lord, and not just for the woman, but for their whole family. And so I just pray peace over any family that's going through having, to make a lifestyle change or just going through any kind of trauma with PCOS, Lord, that you are just guiding them. You're overwhelming their home with peace and love, Lord. I pray for anybody that loves somebody with PCOS, whether it's a friend or a family member or a wife, that they are able to love them wholeheartedly and with as much understanding as possible and as much grace as possible, and that they're leaning into you for strength during any kind of, whether it's a cyst rupture or just maybe a season, a moment of depression or anxiety, Lord, that you just allow these people who support women with PCOS to love them and to guide them and to help support them the best that they can. If there's any woman watching this that is experiencing PCOS symptoms and having a hard time with the lifestyle change, with going into a healthy direction, Lord, I just pray that you give them the strength, the wisdom, the guidance to make that change, to really make that change and to stick with it, Lord, and that you just Help them to understand the benefit of it, Lord, that you give them vision of what a healthy lifestyle could mean for them, or their family, fertility if they're trying to get pregnant. I just ask that you watch over every single woman and family that's represented tonight. We thank you so much for your amazing grace and your beautiful love, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Well, you guys have a great evening. You can find me on all social media outlets under Christy Addis or Her Soul Purpose, and visit the website at www.hersoulpurpose.org. Have a great night. Bye.